My brother, thank you for driving all the
Thank you,
way
brother.
to the Inland Empire to
Not
come on the parables, man.
not too far. Thank you so much, brother.
Hey, man, guys, I met Truong Kim through my good friend from episode 2, Brian Wynn, who had a re-grand opening of his Fountain Valley location from Be Nutritious.
Hmm.
And he introduced us, and automatically off the bat, I was like, I gotta have this guy on my podcast, man.
Thanks,
Just
brother.
sometimes you share conversations and dialogue with somebody, you know what I mean? And you already know off the bat, just based off the energy and what you're about, like automatically I knew like, we would hit it off, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
thank you.
everything we spoke about, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it right now. I really loved it. I just love who you are, what you're about, and just about serving and being an influence and an impact for others out there.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Thanks,
so
brother.
here on the parables, man, I know but I like to call it kind of a portal or a beacon for positive influence or positive energy. Just anything people can take away from our conversation. Hopefully, they could take away something from that and apply it and become the best version of them.
Yep.
So let's try to get to know you a little bit. And this one's gonna be amazing because again, we kind of barely know each other, and those are always
Yeah.
the best episodes.
Yep.
Let's start off maybe perhaps like where you grew up and kind of translate to everything that you're doing today.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Orange County,
Okay.
specifically Garden Grove. And, I was really young, moving around a lot just because. So, long story short, my, parents immigrated here from Vietnam.
Okay.
And like most, immigrants, they didn't have much, money coming here, right? So I think my dad had $0. And he, I'll talk about them for a second, but it was the plan was to flee over here from Vietnam, basically from my dad and my mom. And this is kind of separate too because my dad has his group, his cousins and whatnot, and then they were together already. I think they were married there, yeah. So my mom, was supposed to meet up with her side of it, a bunch of like females basically, right?
Yeah.
And keep in mind this is the jungle and all that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you're sneaking through the jungle at night, all right, and getting on the boat, right? So the plan was for them to meet up. I forgot whether it's at the boat or somewhere right before, but apparently crazy too because I just learned this recently is that he got on the boat and he's able to see her,
Mm-hmm.
but she got captured.
Mm-hmm.
So it was so cool, like just to hearing that story,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
in a sense that it's almost like a movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she got captured and held back for a year, but my dad was able to escape, and I think he landed in, I want to say, somewhere first. I think it's Thailand or something, and then New York.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, for some reason, because keep in mind back then there was no like easy access to calling someone,
Yeah.
but he
Yeah.
was able to send a letter back to Vietnam saying, "Hey, I'm safe. I'm here.
Yeah.
Basically let's meet up once you get here." So and
And that's
that
crazy too, right? Because like it's the letter, so it's like
yeah,
you're wondering, did the letter even reach
exactly.
her? And
And
then like you're just kind of waiting. So I can only imagine. Yeah.
exactly. So she, I think she's able to get over here. I think in Texas, and they met up. I
Mm-hmm.
think during that time though, I want to say, yeah, a year later, yeah, they met up, moved to California, and then a year later had me. But just growing up, they weren't rich or anything. My dad was just hustling, and he was an artist. I mean, he was still an artist, but he drew for companies and whatnot.
Okay.
And that car, Back to the Future,
Mm-hmm.
DeLorean.
Yeah,
So
DeLorean. Yeah.
he's the one who helped design that car.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I just watched that movie that came out. What was it? It was the movie based off the DeLorean.
Yeah, it's a newer one, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I didn't get to
Interesting
see that one.
story. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I remember him just bringing home drawings. But once technology came in, computers came in, he basically lost his job because he
Okay.
didn't catch up with technology. He's
Yeah.
just all about drawing, and he's an artist, right? But yeah, just growing up really poor.
Mm-hmm.
I remember just my mom stood in line for groceries and just handing them something like a green thing. It's basically food stamp,
Yeah.
right? So, but we had a house. I think it was help from our aunt or uncle, whatnot. But so just growing up, keep in mind this is a house of maybe 3 bedroom
Mm-hmm.
at the time, and you have like relatives over there. You have cousins, and I have 4 younger siblings, so I have a pretty big family, and we all stayed in one room, right?
Yeah.
So, growing up, it wasn't like fancy breakfast or anything. And I remember when I was young, my parents would be like, "Yeah, if you get an A on your report card, I'll give you a Happy Meal." So that was like the prize, right?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So, my mom at that time, she was a seamstress, right?
Okay.
So she was sewing pretty much most of our lives, right? And
And your dad was still unemployed during this time too, kind of?
during this time, I think he was just like working here and there. I think he
Yeah.
was working at our furniture store.
Okay, just trying
and,
to make meets end and stuff.
exactly.
Yeah.
And but what's cool about them is they're very just friendly, easygoing people, right? And it was easy for them to meet other people and basically have help from them, whether it's getting a job through them or hustling somehow and providing for the family. So so basically my dad, I think he ended up working fixing air conditioning.
Okay.
I think I forgot what year it was, but long story short, now that's his main job now.
Okay.
Well, he basically took over someone's air conditioning company and one of his friends, and now he owns the company. So it's a small company of like 2 or 3 guys. So basically, we grew up middle class, maybe lower to middle class. And I remember one moment where my mom was sewing, and this is at home, right? And I forgot what happened, but I remember just like bugging her, and she was being distracted by me, right? And her finger caught on, and a needle went through her finger, right?
Oh,
and
man.
can you imagine being that young and like seeing that?
Yeah.
And I remember that moment, it kind of made me realize that I don't want her doing this forever. I knew what they were doing. They were just hustling, trying to get money, and never once they complain. They're not complainers, or they make excuses.
But you recognize as a kid that times were tough at that point.
It was tough, right? Yeah. But at the moment too, it wasn't where we're struggling in a sense that we're worried about money.
Yeah.
I mean, especially being that young, I didn't know any better. I was just waking up and rushing to Saturday morning cartoons,
fooling around and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And just playing outside, right? There was no phones back then. I'm aging myself. but the point was, at that moment, I realized that I gotta hustle. I gotta do something that helps them, right? And so
gotta contribute.
Exactly, right? And to keep in mind, I was like maybe 9 or 10, really young. And so I remember I didn't know what I needed to do, but I know I needed to just get money somehow. And I remember my mom, every time she'd bring home candies or whatnot, I remember one of these round containers of licorice. I would steal them. I mean, especially, having a lot of, younger sisters and, 3 younger sisters and a brother. But at the moment, it was just a big family. I remember taking that and taking it to school and just putting in my backpack and selling it for $0.25 each. I was like, getting a few dollars here and there every day and just saving it up. And so that was my growing up. I was just like slanging candies and whatnot just to make some money. I remember saving up. I think it was like, I got like $60, $70, a lot for a kid, right?
Yeah,
being that young. And I remember just like trying to give her that money. She's like, no, I don't want, I don't need your money that you worked hard for. She knew what I was doing, right?
Yeah.
She found out I was stealing candies. And so anyway, just kind of fast forward a little. I knew that although I needed to make money to help them, I also knew that education was really important.
Yeah.
Right. So especially growing up, it's all about school or nothing. Either you,
especially with Asian parents, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you go to school, and that's almost like a society thing, right?
Yeah.
Especially back then, where
not just Asian parents. Yeah.
Yeah, in general, right? Where you go to school and then you get married. Basically you get a good job, you get married, you have kids. It's very linear.
Yeah.
Right. So that was what I was doing. I was just going to school, and I remember just every time I sat in class, I think I have like, ADD or something where I could not pay attention, and if I'm reading something, I have to really read it like 5 times in order for me to understand something, right? And to comprehend. But I hated school, but I knew that was a path to be successful.
Yeah.
Especially just kind of a mindset back then, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I went to college. That's where I met Robert, my business partner for Milkbox, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I went to Cal State Fullerton, and I had.
What degree were you majoring in?
I wasted a couple of years of computer science.
Okay.
And I love computers. Don't get me wrong. So, but I knew that I couldn't sit there and program all day.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was doing, right? They're doing C++ and Pascal and programming back then, and so I was like, you know what, I gotta switch to something that I might get into later where I can become more successful and hence switch to business.
Yeah.
And so basically what I went to school, I don't know, 5 years. Where it's basically super senior, right?
Yeah.
I had 4 classes left.
Yeah.
4 classes left, and I'm like, you know what? I don't know why I'm doing this. I was already making good money from what I was doing, right? Working in basically IT at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, why am I doing this? They don't really need the degree, and they never check if I have a degree or not.
Yeah.
And I'm in here, and I'm making good money, and I'm about to save and buy my own house.
Yeah.
So I had 4 classes left, like I said, and I dropped out. I literally walked out. I'm like, you know what am I doing? I just walked out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
so you never finished the degree?
I never finished. And a lot of people were like, why don't you just finish? And part of me want to prove not to myself, but to others.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you don't need a piece of paper to be successful.
And go against the norm. How you could go against the norm and stuff.
Yeah, because growing up, that's the norm is. What the norm was, right?
That's what society kind of instills in us as kids, or as in general, in the general population. Like, it tells us, like, go to school, get your degree or whatever, and then go from there, right?
Exactly. So once during college, you get to know that, hey, people are successful. They don't need to, finish school. I mean, not to say that school isn't important, right? Because especially, if you're getting into the medical field or whatnot, you need it. Yeah. But what I was doing, I didn't need it, and I knew that people wouldn't really check, even though they might say, hey, you need a degree or whatnot. Yeah. I dropped out. And during that time, I was DJing. So, back then, I wasn't really serious with life and my career, but I was making good money. I got into DJing, and I loved it. I was like just being able to be out there and, basically throw parties and, and
meet new people,
be
around,
and imagine imagine walking into a club, right? And you see a line, but you're just walking straight in, and you feel good. I'm like, damn, I feel like a king, back then, right?
Dude, what's so crazy about this story is, I don't know why, just because meeting you, the way you talk and just, the discussions we had, I already have automatic respect for you. And for you to tell me that you DJ just blows my mind. And then the conversation we had about me being helping my dad as a DJ when you were younger and stuff. That's just crazy, dude. Yeah. It's always cool to know these different things about you, man. So that's awesome, man. Brother. So you DJed at clubs, like different clubs and stuff, or
yeah. So I feel like growing up, anything I wanted to do, I was really focused into doing that.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So with DJing, we really made it big. So in Orange County, we were pretty much the top, if not top 3 of the group of DJing. So we would throw parties. We threw a party in LA and had DJ Icy Ice, and he was really big at the time too. We had One Voice, their Filipino group.
Oh, I know.
From the Bay Area, right?
Yeah.
And we had them at our club. This is in LA that we threw. So really proud of what we were doing and hustling, right? And enjoying at the same time. It felt like a hobby, and I'm like, dude, this is life. Even though we weren't making a lot of money. Yeah. But it wasn't about the money. It was never about the money. But the point is, that was success to me. Just kind of doing what you love.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think after a while, we moved on, because we're like, what are we doing? We're like, in our mid-20s now, and my friends started having kids and starting their family, and you see like the group like die down in terms of like amount of people. So we had like from like 8 to 6 to 3. Yeah.
Well, I think people like me and you, or in general, sometimes we're always asking what's next.
Right.
After there's like little changes, like again, like maybe some of the friends start having families doing this, and then you were young too at that time. So you're probably you're like, what's next? Probably sounds like, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what's next? Exactly. That was a question I asked myself. And at that moment, even though I mentioned I was in IT, I was doing a lot of things. I was in IT for a little bit, but I also jumped into, I think I was in sales. I was, by the way, I'm the worst at sales. I sold cell phones for a little bit, and these are the stands at like Best Buy. These annoying stands, right? And I had people coming up talking to me, and I'm just friendly. I'm just being very honest, and my sales was worse. I think I might have been too honest. I'm like, I didn't really believe in all this selling too. That was a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just did that. I did telemarketing. I did. I worked in retail. Worked at Macy's for a little bit. Just kind of growing, but just trying different things.
Yeah. So you're just jumping like to different places here and there.
Yeah, and I was making. I knew I was making good money before as IT in terms of being that young. But I knew I wanted just to experience just random things. And what's cool about that is I've learned so much about myself and about what I love in the company and what I need in the team, and as far as the environment I want and all that. So when the companies I have now, it's all from my previous experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You've taken what you learned from your past careers, and you definitely took note of it, and now you kind of like apply it to what you got right now.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, what's next? So I was doing random things, and I went home one day, and my mom was like, "What are you doing? How come you just working 3 months here, 6 months there?"
By the way, sorry to interrupt. What did your parents think when you dropped out of school?
They didn't know.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they didn't know. Because keep in mind, my mom or dad, they were really strict because they want the best for their kids, right?
Yeah.
And they're expecting me to be like a doctor. Or at the moment, they kind of realized that I was going to be a doctor. But to have a good career and get married and all that, right?
Yeah.
And I never told them. I think I told them really later.
Yeah. Doesn't Paul Tran have a similar story to this? Like he dropped out too, and his parents didn't know.
I think a lot of people dropped out. I think a lot of people you talk to probably dropped out.
But by the way, guys, me and Truong, we share a lot of mutual friends. Andy Wynn, Paul Tran, Brian Wynn. They have all been on the podcast, by the way. So, awesome. But anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No,
so they didn't know.
They didn't know.
Then your mom started questioning you, like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, what are you doing? Because they know I had random hours sometimes. Working in IT also was like at night, and then suddenly I'm like during the day, and then the weekends only. So it's really random, and I wasn't serious about making money back then, as in terms of my career wise, right?
Yeah.
I wanted to be successful, but I didn't know what the hell I was doing, right? And so I went home, and my mom knew every time I went home, I would just. And keep in mind, this is like the Vietnamese family where, dude, you got to stay in. You can't. You're 18. You're still staying in. You're staying at home.
Yeah.
I'm not kicking you out, right? So I was living at home still, being in my early 20s, and I'm like, I'm just trying out different things. And she said, why don't you do what you love, like computers? So that's when I'm like, you know what? I doubled down on computers.
Okay.
So I got more serious into it. I got back into the IT world, and then my final career was security engineer. So protecting the company from hackers and internal, external, all that. I love what I was doing. I always believe in just loving what I was doing. I woke up and always feeling like happy. I never once said, "God, this sucks. Like I hate work." Because if I did hate it, I would just do something else. Yeah. That's who I am. I don't like to be stuck in something I don't like. And same thing with school, right? I hated it, but I'm like, I finally realized that you don't need the school to be successful.
Absolutely.
So that's why I dropped out.
I'm the same way. I feel like as soon as some sort of aspect of the fun is being taken away from me, then I will look at other places or put myself in an environment to get fun, to have that fun. Yeah. It sounds like that's kind of what you were doing too. Yep. Like you found that fun into what you were doing, waking up and stuff.
Exactly.
But so what happened from there? Because you doubled down on what you were doing. You work for security management, basically. Right?
Yeah. So security engineer. So it's really good money. I had I was able to buy my own house. I had a nice car. I had a motorcycle, and we can talk about motorcycle too. I mean, I can get into that because when I love something, I'll go all in.
Yeah.
With motorcycle, just a brief, summary. Got so serious where I did like track days, where full on suit, dragging knees around the racetrack, because I want to go all in and kind of test it out, right?
Yeah.
But that was a hobby. So with the what I was doing, like I said, I felt like I was successful, in terms of good money, had my house. I was living by myself, 3-bedroom. It's a nice house for what it is, right?
Yeah.
And in Orange, city of Orange, so great city. And I'm like, what am I missing? I was happy what I was doing, but I remember just sitting there and in the office, and although I was happy, I wasn't fulfilled. Big difference,
Yeah,
right?
huge difference. Still a hole somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. I was missing something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm happy, but I know life is much more than this, than just going to the office and making good money, right? And so I sat there, and I remember what happened to my mom. Remember the story in the beginning here.
The needle going into the
Exactly. So I'm like, you know what? They've sacrificed so much and given me so much, right? That I need to give back to them. Right? So I decided to, you know what? I can't just work here and have enough resource to retire them and take care of me and my other family members and all that, right?
Yeah.
And really give back in general.
That's a powerful acknowledgement in the fact that I think two things are happening here. And again, sorry to interrupt, but one, that you recognize that you can't be at your current position because it won't be enough to retire them, and then but at the same time you recognize that your parents work so hard, yet they want you to be happy and fulfilled. So it's like two things are happening at the same time. Powerful moment in your story.
Super powerful. And at that moment I was like, I gotta change. I can't just and keep in mind, I was in computers for years because I realized that was my true passion, and I was doing what I love, but being good at it too, right? And I remember just at that moment too, I was weekends, we had weekends, right, where I would just meet up with my friends, and I remember sitting with them one day and saying, hey, let's start something. And these friends, I mean, they're awesome. I still see them and hang out with them sometimes, but keep in mind, it's still party, right? Like, drinking.
Still in that phase.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to the bar. Let's go clubbing, right? But I remember sitting there. I think it was over dinner, and I said, hey, let's start something. Let's put in money and open like a shop. I'm like, I don't know, and. My friend's like, you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? I have my job.
Let's go drink.
I'm making good. Yeah, I'm making good money. And I think I said it enough because I wanted enough. Where one friend, his name is Vu, he said, you know what, Robert, and I knew Robert too because when I was DJing, Robert was a friend from college that was passing out records. He was a guy in the promo group.
Okay.
So it was kind of funny how it all like intertwined, right? But he was passing out records during when I was DJing, and so he said, "Yeah, Robert wants to open something too," and I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let's sit down."
Yeah.
So
let's get together.
Let's get together. Me, Robert, Vu, we sat down, and we're like, "Hey, we don't know what we should open, but let's start something." And there's more than enough resources now for us to be successful, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, let's maybe a dessert shop. We have all these crazy names. It was literally an idea on napkins. Like, it's one of the stories, but it really happened. And we had, I wish we had like content back then, right?
I know, right?
But I was on napkins and, different names, different concept. We're like, we finalized it. Dessert. Let's do dessert.
Why dessert though? Like, cause did your other buddies, were they into maybe the food industry or?
So not the industry, right? They were doing their own thing, right? But we all love food and we all love dessert. I think at that moment we were actually eating dessert. So we're like, let's do something that's not too crazy. We don't know how to cook. We're not chefs, right? Yeah. But we're like, how hard can it be, right?
You guys found like a commonality, like, yeah, it's dessert. We're eating it. We like it. It's not too crazy, like you said.
Yeah,
right?
it's simple, right? Yeah, so we're like, let's do that, and we'll grow it, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But one step at a time. So we got more serious, and so we were like, how the hell are we gonna get the money, right? And I remember, looking into my pocket, I'm like, I got nothing. I was making good money, but I was, paying for the house, the bike, and all that, right? And
you're like, man, I ain't gonna sell my bike.
yeah, right. So so we'll fast forward a little, and the story is basically we all came up with money somehow. Vu had his money. Rob, I think I'll tell you in a second, but how I got my money was I'm like, hey, I don't have like 30-40 grand to put in for a small shop, and I'm like, you know what, I'll sell my house.
Oh man.
And yeah, they were like, what? What do you mean sell your house, right? I'm
Dude,
like,
I'm loving this story right now.
yeah. So
man.
I'm like, we don't. It's not like so we went. I don't get me wrong. I understand there's loans out there, and especially back then. But I knew getting a loan is not the idea because, when you get a loan, there's a guarantee that you have to pay them back, whether you succeed or you fail.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go through worrying about that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I gotta really go all in. And that's me selling my house. So I remember putting it on the market. I'm like, all in here, right?
Damn.
And I'm like, you know what, guys? I'll quit my job too, and I'll quit my career just to do it. Just go all in. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And I mean, even though they were kind of like, what the hell, right?
Like, this guy's crazy.
They wanted to go with it because we really want to get into opening a shop together.
Yeah.
Vu's like, okay, cool. I have some money too. I'll put in, and then Rob. He's like, he kind of like almost the same boat as me. The thing about him is that he has a family, right? He has kids. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to try to sell my house too, right? And and he pitched the idea to the in-laws, and they didn't love it. They're like, dude, you're crazy. You're not going to move the kid to a small place or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll help out. I'll give you some money. If you fail in whatever you're doing, I'm going to take the house. So I was like, okay.
So that was the agreement between him and the in-laws.
Yes.
And Rob's the guy I met.
You did, yeah.
Okay,
you met Rob.
cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to Rob.
Yeah, what's up, Rob? And so, yeah, that was the plan. And
Crazy.
I think during that time where we're actually getting more into the plan as far as the concept and all that, my house sold. I got the money, and I'm like, okay, cool, I have the money, and then I have the money, and Rob has the money too.
So obviously you downsized and you went to an apartment or something like.
So I'll tell you a story. It's man, I wish that was the case, but at the same time, I don't regret anything, and I'll explain. Yeah, so I sold my house, and I'm like, okay, I gotta live somewhere, right?
Yeah.
I could get in a small apartment, right, and just live there. But I'm like, you know what? I want to go all in. Like, there's no point of getting an apartment, spending $1,000 or how much of it, was when I looked at it before I did look at it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go all in. I'll move back home, and I'm older, right? So it was a tough decision to do that and tell my parents, hey, I'm gonna move back home.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. But I had to tell them, and I say, hey, I'm selling my house. I'm gonna start a business. And they're like, dude, you're crazy. So it was like, no. At the moment too, I was like still working, and I was telling my coworkers. I had my own office, and I went out. I'm like, hey guys, my friends out there, right? I'm like, I'm gonna sell my house. I'm gonna quit here. I'm gonna go all into this business. And of course, no, you're crazy. You have all this thing going on. Yeah. You have money.
The people who don't understand are just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Right. And so we got serious enough where we're actually looking for locations now.
Okay.
So I want to say we started talking to a few landlords while making a few products here and there. It wasn't anything serious. It was like, okay, let's make ice cream float, And so we didn't get the menu that far though. We just made a few items, and it wasn't perfected at all. It was like just crap, right? And I remember we had another meeting, me, Vu, Robert, and Vu was like, guys, this is crazy. Like, you know what we're doing here? We don't have any product, no product at all. We have something that we don't like.
Yeah.
You guys are about to sign a lease. Talk to this landlord, sign a lease.
Yeah,
like, you guys are crazy. I'm out.
Yeah,
so we was like, dude, yeah, yes, good luck, guys. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Till this day, he's still a good friend.
Yeah.
But Robert and I, like, we're like, okay, well, it is what it is. We don't want to force him to stay, right?
Yeah.
So we're like, okay, we have money now, right? And although we don't have extra money from Vu, but we can start something. So maybe not a dessert shop. Maybe let's scale down a little bit. Let's just do drinks. We love boba. We love drinks. Let's just do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea kind of changed a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. It's still kind of dessert.
Still all in, still moving forward, just kind of just changing it.
I sold my house already, you know.
Yeah.
So
freaking crazy. Yeah,
I can't go back now, right?
Yeah.
But I had, the reason why, because the market was great to sell. I lived there for 6.5, 7 years almost, I think. So I had a big chunk of money in my pocket, and I could just go clubbing and party. But I was serious about this business. So
I have to ask too.
Yeah.
Did you sell the bike?
I sold the bike.
Oh man,
I miss it. I miss it.
See, hey man, you know what? Before we move on, you are all in, man.
I'm all
you
in.
sold the house and you sold the bike, my man.
My turntables too, by the way.
Oh man,
I had my turntables for a while,
Damn.
so really all in.
Yeah.
And I was, Rob and I, at the moment, it's crazy. I don't know what we're thinking, but I knew that we just had to go all in and not half-ass it to really be successful. And at that time, I think it was Andy's and Scott's first shop, Afters.
Afters, yeah.
And so, you see them on newspapers and news. I'm like, hey, these guys are doing it. And they're Vietnamese guys from Orange County. Hey, we can be successful too,
So you found a sense of inspiration from them.
Yeah, and I didn't know. This is me just seeing them online.
Yeah.
I haven't met Andy at the time.
Yeah.
And this must have been, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. And so we signed the lease for our location in Mission Viejo, so a little far, because we, finding a place around locally here in Irvine, Tustin, a lot of landlords are like, dude, what it is, you guys don't have a business, and you guys, there's no business plan, what's going on? So we're like, oh shit, you need a business plan? So, we really worked backward. We had this goal or dream, and then we really figured it out. Yeah. And then I think someone said, do you have a, a business, like you have an LLC?
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, we have to get that too.
Yeah. Well, because you guys are just so excited. You're like almost like thinking right away, like, kind of that visionary aspect of you. And then like, you're learning like, oh crap, like I should look into this first, and
Yeah, so that's how I operate though.
Yeah,
I love just jumping in and figuring it out because
there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, it has to your everything right now, but there's nothing wrong with that. Just for everyone listening. But go ahead.
Yeah. So even DJing, I remember just during college, I was asking my friend, and they had a successful group in the IE, Saga Entertainment. Shout out to you guys, and they're doing great in around here in the 90s, right? And I remember asking one of my friends, he DJ'd, and he said, yeah, I'll help you, but never, I don't think his intention was to help me. Not a bad guy. He just, like, a lot of people ask him, I'm sure. I'm like, you know what? No one's helping me. I'm just going to do it. So that's been my mentality.
Yeah.
And I figured it out. And back then it wasn't like YouTube or anything. It was mainly, I think it was barely started. So there's nothing that I can learn from except recording from the radio and listening to them and figuring it out. Now it's just computers, right? But back then it's just straight up vinyls. Yeah. So it's always been my mindset, just kind of do it and then figure it out. So that's what Rob and I did. We went in, we didn't open yet, but I remember sitting down with Andy and Scott, and I said, hey, can you guys help me? Like, hey, I don't know anything about marketing, but
so you reached out to them and just said, hey, I'm thinking about this. Can you guys help me out? Okay.
I did, and they're awesome, friendly guys, right?
Yeah,
I sat down with them, and they just kind of gave me some tips and advice. And I said, is it as easy as just getting your friends to stand in line and taking photos? They're like, no, it's not. I didn't understand what they were talking about, right? But I remember knowing that I needed to learn more about it, and in order for me to learn about it, and there's no books at the time I didn't realize that you can find books and whatnot to really, learn all this. But I was on a time crunch too. Yeah. Because we signed the lease, right? We're just now building the shop. And I remember I have to get into know these guys or know business owners. And so I had a meeting with them again, and long story short, Andy, a couple other guys became my business partner for Milkbox, including Rob. And
nice.
This is right before we opened our first shop, our first Milkbox. And these guys are successful. They came from fashion, right? And they've been just killing it. And I was like, yeah, this is cool. And I knew it was about just networking and getting to know people, and that's how you that's where it is, right? And it's so powerful now where, man, just knowing people like knowing Brian to knowing you, right? And knowing to all the people that I've looked up to before, and now they're my friends.
Yeah,
right?
isn't it crazy? I feel the same way with this my past podcast guests. Now with you, it's just crazy. Like it's funny how like those relationships are built. You know what I'm saying? And how it started from just one conversation to now it's like, hey, we're doing something good together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and look at you with your success in terms of your network. I mean, now you have a bunch of awesome friends.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, where was the this location, the first one? Or
so we wanted to open around Tustin, Irvine, right? We couldn't do it, and the agent at the time, her name is Cindy. She said, "You know what? We're building another marketplace in Mission Viejo."
Okay.
So South County, right? And I'm always around Central Orange County, so Garden Grove, Tustin, and Mission Viejo is like really far for us, but we decided to go for it because no one else would take us, right? So that was the first shop, and we opened. So we opened, long lines, successful, did great. We had enough. Now we're like generating income.
Yeah.
We never once took money from the business, but we made enough to open another shop.
Nice.
So we opened in Tustin, and within, I want to say 6 months, we opened a second shop in Tustin.
Wow.
Yeah, so pretty quick overall for someone like myself and Rob that's brand new into opening something like this, right?
Definitely. Must have been a very proud moment because you both technically went all in, especially you.
Yeah, and during all that time, it's hard to really be in the moment and feel like you're successful, but we were grateful. We just knew that there's so much more ahead of us.
Again, what's next? Right?
What's next? Yeah.
Yeah.
So building on momentum of Tustin. Tustin's killing it, making great money. We put that money into our next shop. So we found this opportunity in Westminster. So 3 shops. We signed 3 shops in 1 year. That's really fast for someone like me and Rob. That's like I said, new at this. So we did that, and things are going great. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of growing pains, right? In terms of just structure and organization, team, right? I personally took a lot of things, what I've learned in my previous, just random jobs, knowing what I love and putting all like really my heart and soul into the business. But there's a but, right? The but is we realized that we grew too fast.
Okay.
We're like, you know what? We're making money, but we're not. There's something missing. We felt like that we could have done a better job building the foundation versus just growing wide instead of just as far as vertical.
So is that the wide? Like what made you think you moved too fast? Like you felt like there wasn't no foundation built from like maybe like the first location.
Yeah.
Like you just kept moving fast and but you guys were making money.
We're making money, but at the same time, we felt that a lot of the staff weren't as happy. We lived there for months, and then suddenly we're gone. So not to say that you're supposed to be at the shop all day, but we didn't have that structure of like, dude, like we know what to do, but let's say we hire someone new, like when are we supposed to clean? How are we gonna count this money?
I see. So it's kind of like it wasn't the money, but technically it felt like you weren't fully established yet. Organization, the structure, like you just said.
Yeah, because like I mentioned earlier, it wasn't about the money. It was about just being successful, right, and just giving back. But Rob and I, we didn't feel right sleeping at night. Like our staff are happy, but not in the sense that we're happy enough and proud enough on what we built, right? And the sign that we put on our first shop was basically about community, right? So it's about people first, basically. And so we didn't think that we fulfilled that. It was about the what, which is a product, right? It wasn't about the why. The why was about people and community, like I mentioned. And so we sat down, and it was tough. We're like, you know what? Let's start this over, right? And we had business partners. And at that moment, we had I won't say the company name, but they're a big company. They've been in business for like 8 years, in the same tea boba industry. They sat down with me and Rob, and this is during that time we realized that we got to slow down a little bit.
I don't think you mentioned. So Milkbox is in the tea category.
Yes.
Right. Oh yeah. Okay.
Boba, basically. Right?
Boba and tea guys. Okay.
Yeah. And like when we open boba, right, or open a business regarding boba, people are like, "What the hell? Why are you opening a boba shop?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But
Which, by the way, is competitive too during that
like,
time, right?
yeah, it's super competitive.
Yeah.
And we knew coming in, we needed a why.
Yeah.
We can't just great product. So even though we're doing organic and clean ingredients, no powder, no syrups, so the what is great, right? And we slowly just focus on that, which people appreciate it, right? Especially the people that didn't really know a story that just kind of came up.
Mm-hmm.
But we're really missing the why.
Yeah.
And remember I told you that I was really happy doing what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But for some reason, I wasn't super happy doing this. Mm-hmm. Even though I was happy owning a business, having a shop, getting to meet awesome people, right?
Still a hole again.
Still a hole.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Rob and I sat down with this new I want to say a tea shop, a tea company.
Yeah.
And they offered us a great opportunity. Their shops are killing it.
Mm-hmm.
Lines out the door, right? And they say, "Hey, Rob Truong, you guys are doing great operational wise. You guys grew fast, and great service. You're in this industry. We're about to grow, so we're gonna start franchising. Can you guys help us? Maybe San Jose."
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So yeah, so of course, far from home, right? I'm used to this bubble, right? And we're like, wow, they're making so much money, and we were like, you know what? What's the purpose of this? Rob's goal was actually retire his mom too, and then same thing with me, to retire my mom, my parents, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we're like, you know what? If we do this, we'll be successful, because you can tell they're killing it.
Yeah.
And imagine opening 10 locations in San Jose and whatnot, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And at that moment, we're just going back and forth, and we're like, how are we gonna? And the caveat is that we have to sell Milkbox off. Like, we have to get rid of it. There's that competition that compete, right?
Mm-hmm.
So of course they don't want us to be around if they want to expand their brand.
Yeah.
Right.
So was the opportunity to like kind of buy you out, or
not buy us out, but hey, you can go with us, expand with us.
Oh, okay.
But you have
bring
to
you
close
on.
down.
I got you.
Exactly.
Yeah, we want to bring you on, but you got to close down yours.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then exactly. And I think after a couple of meetings, they're like, you know what? We actually have, another group is taking San Jose. You guys go ahead and do maybe Vegas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's do Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And that's when Rob and I realized that, you know what? We can't do this. Mm-hmm. We gave up everything to follow our dreams to do this. And no matter how awesome and grateful this opportunity would have been, we knew that we wouldn't be happy.
You guys would regret it too.
We would
probably.
regret it, yeah. And although the goal is to retire our parents, we knew that, it's not just a goal; it's how we do it. Not just how we get there, but how we do it during the process, right? And we decided to stay back, and we had a huge. I think it was like towards the end of the year too. We had a huge company holiday party. I think we had, 50, 60 staff at the time. A lot of people, right?
And you still had the 3 locations.
We had the 3 locations still, and a lot of staff. We, they were enjoying their moment, and we had we just kind of stood up and was like, hey, thanks for being with us and sticking with us, and and going on this journey with us, and being in this dream of ours, right? And then we said, we're honest. We're like, hey, we're gonna leave, but we wanted to stay to finish this dream, and basically make our moms proud, right? Mm-hmm. And so where am I? We decided to tell them no and say thank you so much, but and then I think that was the opportunity for our business partner. Hey, you guys go ahead and continue. We'll stay back. We want you guys to be successful with them. And so, we stayed back, and when during this time, we actually decided to sell off our locations into doing something bigger. And I'm not going to say it yet because this is actually months and like I think a year now into the works, into the making. Yeah. But we have a bigger vision. Not to say that we're not looking for a brick and mortar, but we're looking for something bigger. So it's always been a grab and go, a counter, not a huge shop like a Starbucks and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's what we want. We were looking for something with, high visibility, bunch of seating,
Yeah.
where we can build this community, where we can be really proud of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
On top of that, just different projects for Milkbox.
Yeah.
So, that's what we're working on. And
So you closed the 2 locations and you only have 1 now.
we closed Westminster first, and then Mission Viejo.
Okay.
And then we're like, you know what, Tustin's still going well. And then we had a really good offer. We're like, you know what? We thought about it. We're like, let's just take it. So we took the offer. So no more locations right now.
Oh, okay. So you completely shut down.
Shut down the brick and mortars because
Okay.
because the mindset, and I'll share this with people, right? But the mindset is for us to be successful, but also we don't want to do what's getting more saturated. Every weekend there's a new boba shop opening up, so we're pivoting into something different. Yeah. So it's going to be exciting. Hopefully we'll get to sit down again and I can share with you what we're worked on or working on.
Oh well, I bring people back, so, so I can't wait.
So I can't wait, right?
Yeah.
And we're very excited for that. And it's at the moment we're still working on that project. At the same time, I love acai bowl, so that's when I opened my other shop, Berry Brand. So it's more of a passion project. And what's cool is that I eat that every day, and I think when you do something you love, you naturally you get better at it, and then you get people to be attracted to what you love, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So my friends approach me. This is just maybe within the last 2 months. They say, "Hey, Truong, can we open a bunch of berry brands?" So we're in the talks now of opening more locations.
Nice.
And my goal was never to open a bunch of berry brand. It's more like I just want to have one shop. This is what I like, and I want to share that with all my friends and family. It's more of a place where, just a meeting place where we just get good food and, and all that.
And was Berry Brand just you, or was it with you and Rob again, or?
So it's just me.
Okay.
And then it's more like an opportunity that I got into. I actually stumbled into it. So I'll explain the story. I was standing right in front of Milkbox one day, and Cindy, the agent, right, of the whole marketplace.
Yeah.
She said, "Hey, that place is empty right across from you. Why don't you open something?" And I think she was joking at the time, and I was joking too. I'm like, "Yeah, sign me up," you know. So she's like, "Okay, what do you want to do?" I'm like, "I don't know. Let's do something healthy that I like, right?" So I was thinking about I drink green juice every morning. Green juice, if no one knows, it's like salad in a cup. It doesn't always taste good, but it's I love drinking it.
Yeah.
Or something like an acai bowl where I would eat it maybe twice a week.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I pitched her that idea. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna open an acai bowl. Literally, this is like 10-minute conversation, and she's like, okay, I'll write up the lease for you, and I'll give it to you next week. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, let's do it. So so that's what she did. I knew I'm crazy, I just go all in. But I know at the same time, I'm smart about things, right? In terms of like, money, budgeting, structure. So I've learned so much, with my journey with Milkbox, right?
Yeah.
But it took me, I want to say maybe 2 months from beginning to until we broke ground, meaning that the contractor comes in and start working. So really 2 months of like just research and just really fine tuning the menu, sourcing, right? There's a lot of things behind opening a business, but to me now, it's like, it's so easy. Like if you want to open it tomorrow, I can help you. You know what I mean? So it's easy. Where I think people start to realize that what I'm doing, right, in terms of just opening something and be successful at it. We have a great following. Everybody on Yelp in terms of Milkbox and Berry Brand, great service. That's like probably the number one.
Yeah.
So I'm all about treating my staff like family.
Yeah.
I really do mean it, because a lot of companies say, hey, customers first. I'm not like that. I'm all about our staff first.
Yeah. Good. Well, I mean, it can't be about the customers first until it's about your employees first, who could provide that customer experience, right?
Yeah, exactly. So till this day, I come in and I'm like, how you guys doing? Yes. Are you guys hungry? I spend my own money on buying them food. I probably buy probably buy way more food than I need to, and I don't go shopping. I'm very low key. You
Yeah.
know, I'm not flashy. You know, so it's just one of those things where I try my best to live humbly,
Yeah.
especially because I know my goal, my end game
Mm-hmm.
is to, retire my parents,
Mm-hmm.
and also just give back to my friends and my community. And yeah, so,
So one location for Berry Brand.
just
For now.
one, yeah, for now. And it's
Yeah.
only been a year,
Yeah.
right? And like I said, it's my intention is just a hobby. It's just for fun, and it's just sharing what I love. And I'm like, what's next? What should I open next, right?
My
But
man, I love
but
it.
yeah, I don't. I think I'm to the point where I don't want to keep opening shops, which I can.
Yeah.
I'm to the point in my life now where I just want to help people. The more I can help, the better.
Yeah.
So, going back to Mopebox, we we had a moment where we did not have prices on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
Zero. People walked up and, can I get a matcha milk tea? And we would say, hey, you know what? You can pay whatever you want. Half the profit goes to charity. So we still are, but we're at the moment we're pitching the idea to each customer that we're just feeding the homeless.
Yeah.
All right. So we would give half a profit away to the homeless and give a portion of the profit to staff as well.
Mm-hmm.
So taking care of our team, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just it feels so good, just being able to provide resources to help others. And
Yeah.
so
It's not just we're trying to make money off selling this tea. It's like actually giving back now.
Yeah,
There's like a
because
mission, a great mission behind it now.
yeah, so what's cool is that it's still a mission to get to our end goal,
Yeah, of
but
course.
however, like I mentioned earlier, is to do it right, to be able to be happy, be able to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And we partnered up with Bracken's Kitchen. They're in Garden Grove. His name is Bill Bracken. He used to be an executive chef, and so he left all that to open this big giant kitchen of like a huge array of staff and volunteers to feed the homeless every single day. Like
Wow.
we're talking about hundreds of meals every single day.
Wow.
So it felt so good, to do that and help them. So yeah, I mean, it's so in this point in my life, it's about helping others. So right now I'm doing consulting, about to work with someone in Texas, someone in
Nice.
Seattle. So just being out there, getting out there, and being able to provide value for others. And it's so fulfilling.
You're such a good person, bro. I mean,
Thank you, brother.
again, I can only imagine how you want to give back to and help because, you were in that position initially, like you said, when the idea of Milkbox and you reached out to Andy and Scott.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure along the way, even from that to opening up the multiple locations at the time, I'm sure there's a lot of people that helped you along the way.
Oh yeah, tons.
Yeah.
Yeah, so grateful. And exactly, even you, right? To be able to help share this, this story. Yeah, I'm always grateful. I think that's like the number one thing I can share is to be grateful. Because waking up being grateful, that's everything.
Yeah.
I can tell you now I'm so fulfilled. Like I'm not even there yet in terms of my end goal, but so fulfilled. I wake up every single day so happy, so fulfilled. Like there's no a hint of missing anything at all.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's what I do. And I'm not the best in front of cameras and speaking wise, but I just know if I can meet someone maybe face to face, I can just provide to them with whatever I know.
Yeah. And if someone could get again, just get an idea of your story, imagine how much it could impact them. You know what I mean? I mean, everything that you share, for crying out loud. I mean, first off, I'm glad you shared the stuff about your parents because now I could see kind of where you got. I mean, we get that creative side from your dad, and then we get the obviously them working so hard, like your mom, and like that pivotal moment when she, with her finger, and then just everything like, and I gotta tell you, you're probably the first person. And I'm realizing this right now on my podcast, who was doing something with passion, like he was passionate about something, but he wasn't fulfilled. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Like there's like a lot of people who like, oh, this is my passion, and they made a career, and then they're fulfilled now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But you were probably the first person that I realized that you were passionate about something. The computer and the IT stuff, right?
Yep.
But you weren't fulfilled.
Yep.
And like it's crazy because you could be passionate about something, but does it still fulfill you?
Yeah,
We talked
exactly.
about the holes in your journey, man.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
I resonate so much, and I'm so like this story's so mind blowing because I also resonate with you too. I actually was in graduate school, more than halfway done for
Yeah.
my nurse practitioner,
Yeah.
and I quit, dude.
Oh
I
man.
quit, and like I didn't go all in like you, bro. Like,
Yeah.
dude, that's crazy. Like I really really applaud you.
Thank you,
You know
bro.
what I mean? Like selling your bike, your house, and all that stuff. But like I know I get it, right? Like I walked away from that, and I'm still paying my school loan. It's just because I
I get it.
knew, like again, my passion is people. So I think I
Mm-hmm.
get that as far as my nursing. Like I like to help people and I have passion for people, but I'm not fulfilled.
Yeah.
And this is why I'm doing this. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
this is man, dude. We have a lot in common, bro.
Yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, that's
It's
awesome. And I
crazy,
want to
dude.
hear more about your story too. Maybe you can be on my podcast, right?
Oh, I would love to, man.
But no, you're right about being fulfilled, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's cool is that we're still young, even though I'm older, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. We're only in maybe our first, second quarter,
Yeah.
right, of our life, right?
Absolutely.
And I really believe that. I really believe that, there's no rush anymore. Back then, I was like, dude, I'm just trying a bunch of things. Let's just get into something. And now I know it's a long journey. I'm living at home still, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, back then I would be so embarrassed to even like hint that, right? But I don't care. It's all about just I restarted my life for a reason, and I know the goal is to do this for them,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's crazy how throughout life you worry less about what people think,
Yeah.
and more about hey, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
It's about how I feel and like what my goals are and things like that. Dude, I'm
Yeah.
so glad you bring that up because I think society now it almost feels like, and then whether it's through social media or just like society in general and that culture, it's almost like there's like a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
You see, and then you see other people too, whether that's your family and friends, like, oh, he has his house, or she has her job, top paying job
Yeah.
at this corporate job, or and then there's a lot of comparing, and I almost feel
Mm-hmm.
like we're so pressured. But here I am talking to an amazing individual right here
Thank you,
who goes
brother.
all in, and you admit like and this is exciting too because dude, like your journey is yet to unfold.
Yeah.
Like you close down all
Still
your
started, yeah.
locations, with Milkbox, and like you admit humbly you live at home and you sold all your passionate things with the bike and turntables and all that stuff, and like
Yeah.
man, dude, like this is like true example of like you shouldn't let society pressure you and tell you like how your journey should unfold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, man, I thank you for sharing all that stuff, man. I think it's so
Thank
powerful.
you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, man, and I mean, so obviously you kind of told us like what's happening, everything that what to expect in the future, a lot of big news and opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then now you're consulting, right? Like you said, how's that going? Like I would imagine it's a lot of fun. Like you know
Yeah,
what I
it's
mean?
fun. It's fun helping, like I mentioned,
Yeah.
and I'm still in the process of doing that.
Yeah.
I want to eventually get into something like real estate.
Mhm.
That's always been my passion,
Same.
just to kind of grow in that sense.
Yeah.
So always trying something new. I don't like to judge myself. Right, that's a big one. Judging yourself and like, oh no, I shouldn't do this. I should just focus on one, whatever. Do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
Yeah, yeah,
No
yeah.
matter what it is. I mean, whether you're still working for someone or you're planning to do your own thing, just do you. It sounds so
yeah.
cliche, but do whatever you love.
Yeah, and even if that's like being in a corporate job
Yeah.
or being a doctor, if that makes you happy, then do it, right?
Exactly.
Like exactly what you're saying. Like it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like, doing all this stuff that you did, you know what I mean? But as long as it makes you happy, then
Yeah.
it's okay, right?
Exactly.
Man, dude, that's great. You know what? I want to ask you too, because again, I'm finding a lot of similarities between us. I consider myself a serial hobbyist. I may not like go all in on different things, but like
Yeah.
I get so fascinated by so many different things.
Oh, same.
Like I just like I always want something new. Like what's next? Like I have to feed myself
Your
to that-
curiosity, your
yeah,
just
that to that
learning.
uncertainty, that
Yeah.
fear. I have to feed myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I realized that maybe like 2 years ago. I'm like, man, I'm crazy, dude. I just like to
No, it's the same thing, right? So I never once did school, right? I always believe in education.
yeah.
School formally is maybe not the right path for everybody, right?
Yeah. But it's a foundation, I guess.
It
But
is.
Yeah, but it's not.
It is.
It's not everybody's path.
But it's about learning. Now we have like YouTube. We have you can if you want to, let's say, do tiling. That's what I did. I looked up how to tile our first shop, how to tile, and within like I don't know 15 minutes, I know how to tile. You know, it's like you can learn so much online. You can learn so much from others.
We just got to take the initiative to actually learn.
Exactly. Resources everywhere now. So that's what I love about, today. Back then, man, what's online was what? It was, I mean, there's Google, right? But in terms of learning from others, besides books, not much, right? Because so much resource now. I take advantage of that. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Dude, that's nuts, man. Dude, this has to be the most mind-blowing story. I'm not just saying that, dude.
Thank you,
like,
brother. I appreciate that.
Man, dude, it's just like, and I'm so excited for the future. For is there anything else that you kind of like are interested, or any other plans, whether it's in relation to maybe the food industry. Again, I know you mentioned a little bit about real estate. Anything else that like you haven't mentioned it that you feel like you want to dive into a little bit?
Yeah, and I want to continue on helping others, right?
Okay.
So my big goal is to, and I was really big on, like I'm saying, I'm like you said earlier, as far as hobbies, right? I got into working out, like really, really working out in terms of, I was like, if you look at my Instagram back in the days, like I was pretty, I had, my neck was like shrinking, I was like, it was pretty big.
Yeah.
And I always looked up to other fitness people, right? But what I'm getting at is, it's all about nutrition for me. So I learned a lot about nutrition just during that fitness time. And I want to also give back to kids. I know, kids don't get the opportunity, that they should have.
Yeah.
So for instance, I grew up, I was school lunch, was in the school lunch program, right? Being, wasn't wealthy, so I just had a ticket for a free lunch.
Yeah.
And more and more about nutrition and what kids are eating now.
Yeah.
It sucks,
Yeah,
they're
it's terrible.
they're just eating basically just leftovers or junk. And I want to get into that. I want to get into helping kids. So I want to open maybe a nonprofit on helping kids. So that's still my my future goal. And just overall, like I mentioned earlier, just helping businesses or whatever I can do. I'm all about, so I listen to a lot of Gary Vee, and he's all about just give more than you take, right?
Absolutely.
So one of his books is jab, 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 right hook. And that just means that give, and then maybe ask, right? So not take, not expect, but just maybe ask later if you need to.
Very important as far as don't expect, because I feel like a lot of people nowadays still expect things when they give, only to be let down. And Gary Vee preaches it a lot. Like the more you have least expectations of other people, like you expect someone to maybe return a favor or do this or do that,
right.
the more you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah, but not only that, right? But it becomes, you lose that network, the people that really see that, they really care. And let's say, an example of, let's say this person, they want to meet us, but you can tell they want something from us. I mean, they might be doing that as a cover up, as a fake, just to be nice, but deep down they wanted something. But if you truly just give without even expecting, I think you get the people that you really want in your life.
They come to you, and
they
come to you. And one of a good friend of mine says, sometimes law of attraction, sometimes the universe will reward you, but in a different form. Does that make sense? Like it doesn't have to be a form of money, form of billing related. Like it'll come back in some shape or form or whatever. But man, I totally agree with you. And to add on to the nonprofit, if there's anything I could do to help you with that, please let me know. That sounds amazing. Like what I mean, just to give back to the kids. And I would imagine being in Berry Brand, you're all about nutrition now too.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So quick side note, if anybody's wondering, I used to make fun of vegans. I mean, I don't make fun where I'm like mean about it, but I was like, vegans, I had a lot of friends that are vegans, right? So maybe 2-3 months ago, I went to, actually you had them here, Iris and Calvin. Yeah. And I went to, we had a cool dinner at one of my favorite places. They love meats, right? Yeah. So we ordered all this like, beef and meats, right? And pork. And next day I woke up, my feet hurting. So my left foot especially, I couldn't even walk on it. I was on crutches, right? So
do you have gout or what?
Exactly. So I'm like, what the hell? So my dad has gout, and he has a lot of problems. Right?
I had gout before too, so I know.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So exactly. So I don't have to explain it, but to the people that don't know, it's painful. And what it is a lot of animal products have, a thing called purines, and then your body breaks down to uric acid. So people with gout can't basically, lack of a better term, pee it out fast enough.
Yep.
But I got gout for the first time, a few months ago, and I'm scared, man. Don't get me wrong. So now I'm just eating a lot more healthier. It's crazy because you wouldn't think that you don't really appreciate certain things, right? Until something happens to you. Right?
Absolutely. Especially if your body speaks to you,
Yeah.
and that's how it spoke to you with freaking that thing happening.
Yeah.
Calvin, by the way, what are you doing to my boy over here, man? Nah, I'm just kidding. You guys,
Exactly.
Iris and Calvin
Yeah.
from Honeybell, they were past guests on the episode.
They're
too.
awesome. Shout out to them.
They
yeah.
are definitely.
But just nutrition. So I'm all about just eating better and helping others. That's it.
Yeah.
So
Dude, that's
super
awesome,
simple.
man.
And just to kind of add what you said about me, and I really appreciate it. It's hard for me to take compliments because I feel like I'm a normal person. I think what makes me a little different maybe is that I just want to go all in. I don't want to wait. A lot of successful people too, right? Business owners, they just go all in until something happens. They have to figure it out.
Yeah.
But I believe in that. I believe in just do it, and you don't have to wait for the right moment. There's no such thing.
Don't wait for it. You don't need permission.
No,
right?
you don't. Just
Yeah.
do it. I had a lot of no's. Don't sell your car. Don't sell your bike. Don't sell your house. Don't quit your career. Like a lot of no's. Like everybody said, from my parents to saying no, to my close friends, to even strangers, saying no. But you just got to do it.
Yeah, but being students of, you both being students of people like Gary Vee,
Yeah.
we know that even though it's coming from the, from a warm heart or a good place, the people from outside, like that's kind of like their insecurity speaking on behalf. You know what I'm saying?
I know.
Yeah, and
exactly.
we know it comes from a good heart. They just
Right.
they're just concerned, but still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
But man, dude, incredible story.
Oh, thank you,
It's
brother.
crazy, dude.
I feel like it's just normal, But no, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
it, brother.
So a lot to expect from you. Obviously, I'm gonna say it right now. We will bring you back because we got to see what happens.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah, and we
I'd
know.
love to be back.
I'm confident good things will come out. Because being obviously seeing like the hard worker you are and like everything you're about, the mission behind it, and just going all in, man. So do me
Thank
a
you.
favor as we shut down here. Obviously, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are really going to find this episode impactful. Where can they find you if they want to reach out to you, maybe get some wisdom, anything like that? Where can they? Where's the best way to contact you?
Yeah. So my Instagram is Ologic. That's just a letter O and the word logic. And long story short, my DJ name was DJ Logic.
Uh-huh.
This is before Logic, the rapper, came out.
Yeah.
So when he came out, I'm like, damn, he took my name. But
I still can't. I still find it crazy that you were a DJ, man.
yeah, it's pretty random, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. You know, I might get back one day. Maybe especially the bike. I miss it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ologic on Instagram. Feel free to DM me. I'm very open to helping others. Yeah, I think that's it.
I appreciate it, guys. Man, dude, I'm still blown away by this freaking story. It's so nuts, dude. But anyway, guys, if you guys find value in this episode, please do me a favor. Tag me and Truong and let us know what you think. Also, I don't do ads, not trying to pitch or sell anything to you guys. All that I ask is if you know this particular episode or even any episode that you listen to can impact somebody or be of wisdom to somebody, please share with them. Otherwise, I appreciate you, brother. If you could do me the honor of signing the infamous canvas.
For sure.
I only have legends sign the canvas, baby.
For
you
sure.
know what I mean?
I you know what? It was funny. Before I knew you had this, right?
Yeah.
By the way, you're blowing up. So congrats, brother.
Thank
You're doing great.
Appreciate
But I found this spot here under the T.
Oh yeah.
For my name, but
so you already knew where you're gonna sign.
I knew where I was.
I love
gonna
it,
sign.
man. Hey, man, I love it, dude.
Thank you, brother.
I appreciate you. Parables
Thanks for having me.
Podcast with
Thanks,
Truong
guys.
Kim. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks,
We're out
guys.
of here.